When omens don't mean what we think. On weddings, omens, and the joy of dancing in the mud. August 21st marked the 21st anniversary of my wedding. I say wedding because, in truth, my then fiancé and I had already been legally married months earlier, an unromantic but practical decision once we realized how much money we'd save on his car insurance. We were both under 25, after all. The minister who presided over our ceremony, a firm believer in the separation of church and state, was downright delighted not to have to sign the legal paperwork. Looking back, so much went wrong that day. The kind of wrong that, if you were inclined to believe in omens, might have whispered a warning. But I didn't take them that way. Not then, not even after the marriage itself eventually failed spectacularly. Lately, after almost dying in Costa Rica, I've been thinking about omens again. Does catastrophe mean the path ahead is doomed? Does the difficulty of building a resort in the jungle mean it's not meant to be? I don't know. Maybe time will tell. What I do know is that just like on my wedding day, I'm still walking forward, not only now. What I do know is that just like on my wedding day, I'm still walking forward, only now with more pragmatism, more discernment, and a deeper well of wisdom to draw from. What strikes me most in remembering that day is not what went wrong, but how I responded. I've always had the gift of finding joy in chaos, of turning what looks like disaster into something that makes people laugh, dance, and remember the beauty in the mess. They say rain on your wedding day is good luck. If so, I hit the jackpot. Because what came down on us wasn't just rain. It was a torrential downpour that left cars stranded in 3 feet of water. Our reception, a homemade affair under a tent in my mother's backyard, quickly turned into a muddy adventure. The IKEA dishware we bought because it was cheaper than renting had to be cleared of dirt and debris when the makeshift curtains blew onto the tables. My father-in-law, ever resourceful, laid pallets down from the driveway to the tent so guests wouldn't sink ankle-deep into puddles. At the church, the electricity went out. We were lucky the afternoon light was strong enough to illuminate the room, but the open doors meant that we exchanged vows. At the church, the electricity went out. We were lucky the afternoon light was strong enough to illuminate the room, but the open doors meant that as we exchanged vows, a delivery truck slowly backed up outside. The beep, beep, beep became our accidental wedding soundtrack. Then, at the reception, I looked down and realized my finger was inexplicably gushing blood all over my white dress. I was immediately reminded of when my father remarried and my soon-to-be stepmother had the same misfortune. But instead of laughter, she erupted into a screaming match with the venue staff. My cousin dabbed at my dress with an ice cube, and I just laughed and kept dancing. And oh, did we dance! A live band, conga line weaving through the mud-streaked tent, joy bubbling up everywhere. Even when a dangerously large flame erupted from an oil candle near the cake, my impulsive attempt to douse it with water created a fireball. The rain and some quick-thinking caterers saved the day. For the record, IKEA eventually recalled those candles. You're welcome. People still tell me how fun that wedding was. One of my favorite photos of myself was taken that night, me in flip-flops, skipping out over the wet grass with sparklers in hand, then slipping cartoon style so my feet flew up over my head. I hit the mud hard, my dress soaked and grass-stained, but I leapt up with a huge grin, pure joy captured on film. That image has followed me through the years, a reminder that I've always been able to alchemize misfortune into delight, to embrace the adventure instead of fearing the omen. I don't believe bad omens really exist. What I believe is in resilience, laughter, and the sacred power of continuing to dance, muddy feet and all. In moments like these, I think of Fortuna, the Roman goddess of luck and fate. She spins her great wheel without warning, lifting some into triumph while plunging others into chaos. But Fortuna is not cruel. She simply reminds us that life will always be unpredictable. What matters is not whether the wheel turns in our favor, but how we meet it when it does. Like Fortuna herself, I choose to dance on the spinning wheel, to laugh in the downpour, and to trust that every turn, muddy or golden, has its place in the larger pattern of my life.